I've known this girl since I was born, who I can't help but notice whose heart was torn. She told me she's never really found love and that it might not even exist. She started talking and then grabbed my wrist. Many people in the world hope to find the one they can't live without, and they'll be lucky in the end if they even work out. I've gotten bitter, and that I know, but I guess that's what happens when you don't get hit with Cupid's bow. I soon realized love isn't like the one in movies where all their songs rhyme. 'Cause from what I see, love takes real effort and time. She ends by saying, though being in love is not my forte, I still find myself dreaming of it every day. So I'll just wait, even if it'll take a while, a bit, just so I'll find the one, my perfect fit.
Hello there, welcome to At Random. Our next guest is an 18-year-old young lady who is into a lot of things. She is into poetry, hosting, a little bit of modeling, and is a DJ in the making. Let's welcome Edelfa Romano. Hello, Edelfa. Welcome to the show. Yes, let's take a seat here. Wow, I have read some of your poems. You have written more than 15 poems and published how many of these?
I'm pretty sure, I think probably less than 15. Because I feel like most of the other ones are more personal.
Okay, so now you have published less than 15, around 12 probably, poems. Where do you publish your poems?
I have this website. It's called Edelfa Writes.
Okay.
And that's where you can find all my poems that I've added just recently and even last year.
Okay, so now maybe you would like to inspire others. How did you get started with writing poetry?
It started on my best friend's birthday, I think. And instead of writing her a speech, I decided to write her a poem. And with that, I realized that it's easier for me to write out my feelings than to actually say it.
So I'm interested, was that one of the poems published?
Yes, it was.
Wow, what's the title?
Okay, this is for Dee Dee. It was called The Heart That Beats the Rest. It was for her 18th birthday.
Okay. Now, who actually is your inspiration? Do you have a novelist or a poet or an author in mind?
When I went into writing, I never really thought of any poets or any journalists or authors. It was just more of me, I think. Yeah.
When you were in high school, I'm interested, did you find poetry reading or probably analyzing and reading poetry interesting when you were in high school?
In high school, I always thought they were boring.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, could you remember some of these poems that you read in high school? Can you remember some of them? Or probably the poets that you took up?
I don't remember a lot of poems, but I remember Dr. Seuss. He's the one who wrote Cat in the Hat.
You remember him. How about the poets and the poems in the book? You don't remember any of them?
No, I don't really remember much. They were back in elementary, I think.
You thought they were boring?
A little bit, but later on I realized you have to read between the lines, and that's what makes poetry really special.
So you don't have any favorite poet that you idolize?
Not really. Me, Joe.
Okay, do you consider yourself a spontaneous writer, or do you wait for inspiration for you to be able to come up with something?
When it comes to poetry, I can't write something without feeling it.
Okay.
So it has to be something I experienced or something I was feeling at that moment. That's why it was written.
So would you say that it's an inspiration for you?
Yes.
At that moment when you want to write something? Okay. What subjects do you cover, by the way?
Since I'm a teenager, of course, everything that goes from friendship to family to all the drama that goes with growing up. And yeah, just typically.
I love the perfect fit. Yeah, because it has a very young voice. It's really you. So you're looking for, I understand that you're looking for really someone.
Well, not really looking for someone, just waiting for the perfect one or the perfect fit.
Aren't they the same?
Yeah.
Okay, now you cover several genres, but you most favor your favorite genre is poetry. But I heard from you. You mentioned that you actually wrote a fairy tale.
Yeah, I started writing that last year. In the beginning of this year.
Okay.
It's just a short story, and It was called Leilani's Adventure. We'll say it's a child's book.
It's
but
for kids.
It's
How
for
many
kids.
pages? Is that a short story or probably a novelette?
It's in Word document, so it's like 30 pages long. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you
It
publish
could be a
it,
long
it'll be
short
the same.
story.
Yeah, but it's pretty short.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah.
So why do you like fairy tales?
In fairy tales because life has too much of reality already, so that sometimes you have to go out of the world to experience something new.
Okay, now this girl is really into writing and you intend to pursue your studies in the US.
Yes.
Yes, okay, so you will be saying goodbye to your friends in the Philippines? Is that for good?
Saying goodbye for good.
Uh-oh.
Philippines will always be my home, but my future will be in the States.
Yeah, aside from writing, you also host events. Yeah, can you talk about what
yeah.
sort of events do you host?
The first event I hosted was my sister's fashion show in El Camino.
Okay.
And the second one was at my best friend's birthday party, and I had to make the program and host it as well.
Wow. So you also currently are training to be a DJ?
Yeah, that's like a new field for me because I've never really thought of DJing until like one night. Like I was with the DJ at the bar, and then I was so fascinated by all the equipment, so I was just like, oh, what does this thingy do? So it was really fun.
So what do you think to be a DJ, to be a successful DJ, what do you need to have or what do you need to develop?
I think it's the passion of music, because once you start playing something and you can't really be into it, it's not as much fun as just doing it for a job or something.
So first of all, you need to love music first,
Yes.
and you need to know music also, yeah. And you're also into that? You love music?
I love music. I can't like go on a day without listening to music.
Okay, so can you mention some of your favorite musicians or artists?
For sure is Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Frank Ocean. There's a lot. Mariah Carey. Yeah, there's. I could. It's a
Okay,
lot.
do you listen to the same music that your sister listens to?
We
You
kind
have
of.
the same taste?
She copies my songs, so she has the same songs I do. Yeah,
Really?
But mostly we have the same.
But she's the one
genre.
training you to be a DJ, right?
Yeah, she is.
So which career do you think would you pursue? Because you finished a year studying psychology to be a psychologist, and do you think you're going to pursue that field when you go to the US?
With time, I realized that maybe psychology wasn't the best choice for me. So maybe when I go back to the States, I'll choose a different career.
A different one. Yeah. Okay, anyway, you're still very young. Okay, let's talk more about writing, because as a writer, you have inspiration, you read books. What sort of books do you read?
I really love fiction, mystery, and like fairy tales and stuff. It's fascinating.
Even up to this age, you read fairy tales?
Not fairy tales like really childish ones, but like Harry Potter or Twilight. That's fairy tales, right? Yeah.
So the traditional fairy tales always end happily ever after. And you have written one. How did your fairy tale end?
You'll have to read it to find out. I don't want to spill it.
But it's meant for kids, right? It's meant for kids. Do you believe in in the formula that all stories for kids should end happily? No story for kids should have an unhappy ending. That's what they say.
Yes.
Do you believe in that?
I do, because growing up is hard enough without the thought that you can't have a happy ending. So as the kids grow up, they'll learn by themselves, but at that time, someone has to encourage them that life is beautiful and everyone deserves a happy ending.
Yes, okay. And that's what stories do. Inspire the kids to move on and pursue their path. Okay, now let's go into modeling. What do you think of, because you dip into modeling once in a while, what sort of modeling is this? This ramp or what?
Oh, I haven't done a fashion show, but I've done a couple of photo shoots. Yes.
Print ads, for print ads. Okay. And being a writer now, let's go back to being a writer. Diba, according to them, writers are very sensitive people. Are you?
Yeah,
That sensitive.
I am.
Yes.
I really am. My
Oh,
friends.
somebody's flashing some like this.
That's my friend Arky. He agrees that I really.
It doesn't show anyway. You look like a very strong and very fierce woman. So there's someone inside there that is really fragile and sensitive.
Yeah.
Because you're a writer, right?
Like
Okay.
like I guess I'm kind of like my poems.
Mm-hmm.
You may seem happy or you may seem this way, but you have to read between the lines to actually understand.
Yeah.
So-
One of your poems, okay, I said the perfect, I like the voice of the perfect fit.
Thank you.
And another one, the knife. This seems like, before reading this seems like something which is tragic because you have
Yeah.
the symbol of a knife there. What's happening in this poem?
That's like a really dark poem, I guess. I was in a dark time, but that's
Okay.
more on, I guess, it's about betrayal and
Betrayal.
Trust.
There's something about hell here. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, tell us about this. Is interesting. Negative words like betrayal. You give me hell. Yes, tell us about this.
I won't go into much details, but I'll say is as I trusted someone and believed that they were my friend, and then later on I realized that not everyone that smiles at you is a friend.
Right. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So you actually can channel your energy to your poems if you feel something negative. That's what you have to encourage these kids here. How they could use their talents to, express themselves
How can
in their poems. How do you encourage them to use their talents in writing or to use their, they have words in their heads to express their feelings?
Yeah. For me, writing has always been the best remedy for my emotions. So, I mean, I'm sure not everyone can go into writing. So, like, I guess if you're a kid or a teen that has problems and you don't know how to express them, go into whatever you feel like doing. Like, for example,
like
music. For example,
music.
music. You could express yourself that way.
Dancing.
Painting, art, or like, join a sport to let some stress off.
Yes.
There's a lot of possibilities.
And poetry is one of them. It's an outlet for these kids. One of your poems is something to, talks about hiding behind your own mask. Is this what? About hypocrisy? Again, about betrayal?
No, it's more of, the saying that goes, you wear a different mask
Yes.
with everyone. And I guess that's kind of talking about.
Do we wear different masks when we go out into the world? Do we actually wear different masks?
Well,
Aren't
not
we ourselves when we go out into the world? What do you think? Maybe that's your opinion as a writer, you see? She sees this in people,
Yeah.
that people are not actually who they are when you meet them.
Yes.
Uh-uh.
So that poem is actually talking about someone who is going through a lot, and everyone sees her or him as this really strong person. And in the end, at the end of the day, he has to take off that mask and show that he's not as happy as he seems.
So is this something like normal for everyone to wear masks to be able to cope with what they are undergoing, what they're feeling? Do you need this? Like, for example, you're so down and out. You don't have to show it in your face. Okay, like you're in a competition, you have to
Yeah.
smile even if deep inside there's a knife cutting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
it's, I think, one way of coping, right?
It is.
So right now, even right now, we're trying to wear some kind of mask. Also, we're trying to mask our real feelings of probably like nervousness and probably some insecurities there.
Yes.
Wow. I love your poems because
Thank you.
they really reflect how you feel at the moment. And a lot of teenagers, I'm sure, can relate to
Yeah.
some of these poems. You have Sandpaper. Can you walk us through some of... Oh, this one, Happy Ending. This is nice.
Oh
Her,
yeah. Since we were
happy.
talking about happy endings.
Yeah, her happy ending. Who is the her here?
It's one of my friends, and at that time I wrote the poem. It was for her.
Okay.
Because she was going through a difficult time,
Okay.
and I guess I just wanted to tell her that even though she may be going through this and that.
Did she die here? Because
No,
there's
she
an
didn't.
ending.
No, she didn't die.
Okay.
That's so dark.
Excuse me for... Ano, sige.
Yeah,
Talk
no.
about this. What sort of ending is this?
She was sad, right? So all I told her was, God has a reason for everything. You may be going through this and that, but that's making you stronger.
Okay.
And then I was like, just believe you'll have a happy ending in the end. So at least she can look forward to something, or at least she won't be down her whole life.
Okay, very nice. So you have also inspiring poems and some poems
Yes.
that reflect your feelings, no, at the moment. So I would like you now to encourage everyone to get into reading or to get into poetry, whatever, so they can also be a poet like you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, everyone has their own talents. So if you have a talent in speaking or writing or music, you just take up into it. It's a great way to express yourself, like I have, and it's a great stress reliever.
So you have published your poems online. Don't you have any wish or any dreams of having a hard copy of your poems? Like a book, a real book that you
Actually,
can probably
yeah.
sell. Oh.
Besides the fairy tale book, I was working on this other novel. It's more of a realistic one based on my
Okay.
life with my friends and family.
So what chapter are you now
Currently,
in that novel?
I'm stuck on chapter 2 because my
Really?
laptop broke down, so I have to fix
so
that.
do you have any title in mind?
Not yet.
Not yet. Uh-oh.
I'll
You're still
find
working
it.
on it. So what could be? Could you give us an idea of a plot or the main character here?
It's mostly talking about the teenage life and what you go through, how you cope with it, and how you have friends to push you through and everything.
Oh wow! I really encourage you to really pursue that, and then probably
Thank you.
sell it. To these teenagers who need some help regarding because all they need to do actually is to get hold of these books that would inspire them to move on, because there are a lot of challenges as teenagers. We face a lot of challenges. Now, right now, as a teenager yourself, what is your biggest challenge in life?
For me, the biggest challenge right now is peer pressure. Being a teenager has a lot of that. People encouraging you to do this and that, and thinking you actually have to fit in, trying to be perfect, and trying to be the perfect teen that they're supposed to be. And I actually agree when they say that being a teenager is hard, because I'm going through it now, and a lot of teenagers are as well, and I could say that we're gonna get through this.
Yes, I am sure. And you're getting through it now. You're already going over it because you're 18 now. You're 18 years old and you're beyond that already. Hopefully, no?
It still says teen. It still counts, yeah. It's not all the time I hurt this way. It's just hard to put my feelings astray. Time went on and our friendship started to fade. Maybe it wouldn't end the way it was made. Your false stories went on and it seemed to have no end. Sometimes I wonder if you're still that same friend. Many people asked and many people wondered how our bond could have turned us strangers to one another. The promises you made seems like a lifetime ago. You didn't keep your word, and with that you had let me go. Like sandpaper in my life waiting for me to be demolished, you may have rubbed me the wrong way, but I came out polished.